Sometimes the hardest word to say is also the most necessary. There is a fine line between forgiveness and knowing when to say, enough is enough. It's about honoring our worth while navigating the tricky waters of human relationships. This isn't about being unforgiving. It's about respecting ourselves, all through the lens of Stoic wisdom. In an ideal world, we'd all be able to forgive and move on without a hitch. But life teaches us that some actions cut too deep, making it hard, if not impossible, to mend what's been broken without risking more hurt. Today, we're going to explore why setting boundaries is crucial for our mental and physical health. We'll also touch on how Stoicism, a philosophy built on virtue, wisdom, and rationality, guides us in facing these challenges head-on. Stoicism teaches us the value of seeing things as they are, not as we wish them to be. It's tempting to give someone a second chance out of hope or affection. Stoicism reminds us to ground our decisions in reality, not in wishful thinking. It's about recognizing patterns in behavior that are likely to repeat and asking ourselves if it's wise to expose ourselves to potential harm again. Let's break it down into 12 key points to consider before opening the door to someone who's hurt us in the past. And as we embark on this transformative journey together, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe, ensuring you don't miss a moment of this exploration. Watch every part, for each holds a key to unlocking the Stoic strength within you. Number 1. Change usually takes time. When we talk about change, especially the kind that turns lives around, there's a common misconception that it happens in the blink of an eye, a sudden transformation that's as swift as flipping a switch. But here's the truth, one that's been echoed through the ages, from the halls of ancient Stoic philosophers to the offices of modern psychologists. Real, lasting change is a slow and often challenging process. Change demands more than just a fleeting wish to be different. It requires a deep, unwavering commitment to improvement, even when progress seems invisible to the naked eye. Think about it. When we decide to let someone back into our lives after they've hurt us, we're often swayed by the hope that they've changed. Yet, as both Stoicism and modern psychology suggest, we must tread this path with caution. Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst who founded analytical psychology, offers a valuable insight here. I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. This quote highlights the importance of intentional effort in the process of change. It's not enough to desire improvement. One must actively choose and work towards becoming the version of themselves they wish to see. However, recognizing that true change is rare and typically slow to manifest allows us to make more informed decisions about our relationships and who we allow into our personal spaces. Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher, spoke of virtue as a habit, something that must be practiced and honed over time. This perspective is crucial when considering giving someone a second chance. Has this person demonstrated a consistent effort to improve, or are they merely offering promises of change without evidence of real action? Moreover, sometimes, even with the best intentions, individuals may need external support to facilitate their growth: a therapist, a mentor, or a support group. This acknowledgement doesn't diminish their efforts, but rather highlights the complexity of human behavior and the multifaceted nature of change. In our discussions, both with ourselves and with others, we should remember that change, especially the kind that addresses deeply ingrained behaviors or harmful patterns, is seldom swift. It unfolds through daily choices, through the small, often unnoticed actions that collectively steer us towards a new direction. As Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, put it, "No great thing is created suddenly. Patience, understanding, and a clear-eyed view of the realities of personal growth are essential as we navigate the complexities of human relationships and personal development." Number 2. Keep true to your values. When faced with the decision of whether to give someone a second chance, especially after they've hurt us or breached our trust, it's like standing at a crossroads. One path leads towards possibly mending a relationship, but at what cost? If the price is compromising on our core values, then we're not just losing a part of ourselves, we're betraying the very essence of our being. Stoicism teaches us to look inward for strength and guidance, urging us to ask, does this decision align with who I am and what I stand for? Living according to our principles might sound straightforward, but in practice, it's anything but easy. It requires us to be vigilant, to constantly check our actions against our values, and to have the courage to make tough decisions. Marcus Aurelius offers a nugget of wisdom here. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Imagine applying this litmus test to our daily decisions, including the challenging ones like whether to reintegrate someone into our life. It simplifies things, doesn't it? Yet it demands a level of honesty and bravery that can sometimes feel daunting. Giving someone a second chance should not mean having to bend our values until they break. This is where Stoicism can serve as an anchor, reminding us that our integrity is non-negotiable. It's about recognizing that every decision we make is a reflection of who we are, and when we start making concessions on our values, we not only compromise our integrity, but also set a precedent that it's acceptable for others to expect us to do so. But let's not confuse standing firm on our values with inflexibility or harshness. Stoicism doesn't advocate for a life devoid of forgiveness or compassion. Rather, it encourages us to find a balance, to be as steadfast in our commitment to our values as we are generous in our understanding of human flaws. This balance is beautifully captured in the words of Epictetus, who said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Number 3. Genuine regret is key. The Stoics, with their profound insights into human nature, understood this all too well. They didn't see forgiveness as a mere emotional gesture, but as a rational decision grounded in the recognition of genuine remorse. Seneca once remarked, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." This kindness, however, isn't blind. It's informed by the sincerity of the other person's regret. It's about seeing them acknowledge their mistakes, not just with words but through their actions, showing they're committed to change. Genuine regret is a powerful thing. It's not just about saying, "I'm sorry." It's about understanding the impact of one's actions, feeling deeply for the pain caused, and taking steps to ensure it doesn't happen again. This kind of regret is palpable. You can feel the sincerity behind it, making it a solid foundation upon which trust can start to be rebuilt. But why is genuine regret so crucial in the process of forgiveness? Well, think of it this way. When someone shows true remorse for their actions, it demonstrates a level of self-awareness and empathy. It signals that they're not just seeking forgiveness to ease their guilt or to get back into our good graces, but because they genuinely understand the pain they've caused and are willing to take responsibility for it. This opens the door to rebuilding trust, a component that's as fragile as it is essential in any relationship. Trust, once broken, is hard to mend, and without seeing genuine regret, the task becomes even more daunting. In a world that often equates forgiveness with weakness, it's crucial to remember that there's nothing weak about choosing to forgive. It's a strength, a testament to our capacity for empathy and understanding, but it's also a choice that needs to be grounded in reality. the reality of the other person's willingness to acknowledge their faults and work towards change. Without this, forgiveness becomes an empty gesture, one that neither heals nor rebuilds, but potentially sets us up for further hurt. Number 4, forgiveness doesn't mean reunion. There's a profound truth that often gets lost in the maze of our emotions, especially when we're hurt. Forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same thing. It's a distinction that's crucial, yet so often blurred. Forgiveness, in its essence, is a gift you give to yourself. It's about letting go of the bitterness and anger that weigh down your heart, about choosing peace over perpetual turmoil. But here's where it gets interesting. Letting go of that bitterness doesn't necessarily mean you have to welcome someone back into your life with open arms. That's where reconciliation comes into play, and it's a whole different ballgame. Marcus Aurelius teaches us about the importance of wisdom and judgment, qualities that are essential when considering reconciliation. Just because we forgive, it doesn't mean we forget. Forgiveness is about healing the wounds within us. Reconciliation is about assessing whether it's wise or healthy to rebuild a bridge between us and someone else. Sometimes it's possible. Sometimes the foundations are too shaken, the trust too eroded. Forgiveness liberates us from the chains of bitterness, but reconciliation, that requires a careful, honest assessment of the situation. It demands that we ask ourselves tough questions. Can the trust be rebuilt? Have both parties changed and grown from the experience? Is there a mutual desire for the relationship to heal, and is it based on respect and understanding rather than dependency or fear of loneliness? Forgiveness is a solitary journey back to peace. Reconciliation is a path that two people decide to walk together, but only when it leads to a healthier, more respectful relationship. Sometimes the most courageous act of love, both for ourselves and the other person, is to forgive but not reconcile. It's about knowing that we can wish someone well, hope for their growth and happiness, without needing them to be a part of our life. Number 5. Deep-rooted problems don't just disappear. Navigating through life, we often come across situations where the same issues seem to crop up again and again, like unwelcome guests who just don't get the hint. It's particularly true when dealing with relationships where harmful behaviors have shown themselves not just once, but as part of a recurring pattern. The Stoics remind us of a hard but essential truth. Chronic issues don't just vanish into thin air. They're like shadows, following closely behind unless confronted and dealt with directly. Acknowledging that chronic issues are likely to resurface doesn't mean we resign ourselves to a fate of endless suffering. Quite the opposite. It empowers us to make informed decisions about our boundaries and our involvement with those who have hurt us in the past. Seneca offers a piece of advice that fits perfectly here. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. It's a gentle nudge to reassess the company we keep, reminding us to surround ourselves with individuals who contribute positively to our lives, rather than repeatedly pulling us into cycles of pain. This Stoic principle doesn't just apply to personal relationships. It's relevant in all areas of life, where we find ourselves facing the same challenges over and over. It's about recognizing patterns, understanding their root causes, and taking proactive steps to address them. The Stoics teach us not just to react to life's difficulties, but to anticipate them, prepare for them, and, when possible, avoid them altogether. Recognizing the potential for chronic issues to resurface is not about closing our hearts or giving up on people. It's about applying Stoic wisdom to protect our peace and prioritize our growth. It's about making the tough but necessary decisions that our future selves will thank us for. And, perhaps most importantly, it's about remembering that while we can offer support and compassion, we cannot do the work for someone else. Their journey to change, like ours, is their own. Number 6. Sometimes rejection is crucial. In a world that often pushes us toward a default of yes, drawing a line in the sand and saying no can sometimes feel like an act of rebellion. Yet Stoicism teaches us that saying no is not just an act of rebellion, it's an essential practice in self-respect and the preservation of our peace and well-being. But why is it sometimes so necessary to say no, you might ask? Well, every time we say yes to something that oversteps our boundaries, that demands too much from us, or that conflicts with our core values, we're essentially saying no to ourselves. We're saying no to our peace, our well-being, and our respect for our own limits. Seneca, another sage in the Stoic tradition, eloquently puts it, "If you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person." This escape begins with the ability to say no, to set boundaries, and to prioritize our well-being over pleasing others or meeting external expectations. Saying no is not just about preventing further harm, it's about actively respecting ourselves. It's about acknowledging that our mental, emotional, and physical health are precious and worth protecting. It's recognizing that we cannot pour from an empty cup, that our capacity to love, to give, and to be present for others begins with how we treat ourselves. But how do we say no in a world that expects an unending stream of yeses? It starts with clarity, clarity about our values, our limits, and our priorities. It requires us to be honest with ourselves and with others about what we can and cannot do, what we are willing to accept, and what we must refuse in order to stay true to ourselves. The Stoics remind us that our allegiance is first and foremost to our own virtue and peace of mind. This doesn't mean we become selfish or indifferent to the needs of others. Rather, it means we approach our decisions with wisdom, discernment, and a profound respect for ourselves and the life we wish to lead. Number 7. Characteristics are deeply rooted. The Stoics, with their keen insights into the human condition, teach us about the importance of accepting things we cannot change while working diligently on the aspects we can influence. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." Understanding that core personality traits are deeply rooted helps temper our expectations, both of personal transformation and of change in others. It's akin to gardening. We can water, fertilize, and tend to the plant with care, encouraging it to grow and flourish in its own unique way, but expecting an oak to morph into a pine is futile and will only lead to disappointment. This analogy brings us closer to the Stoic ideal of working with our nature, not against it. Epictetus offers a compelling directive. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. Applying this to personality traits, it's a call to shift our focus from trying to enact dramatic changes in ourselves or others towards fostering growth and development that aligns with our inherent natures. It's about recognizing the difference between encouraging positive habits and skills and the unrealistic expectation of altering the very essence of who someone is. Expecting sudden transformations, especially without the foundation of sincere effort, is a recipe for disappointment. This is where the wisdom of Seneca can illuminate our path. If you really want to change your life, you must first be willing to change your mind. The essence of this change begins in the mind, with a commitment to personal development and an acceptance of the slow, often challenging process of growth. Number 8. Learn lessons from the past experiences. You've likely heard the saying, history often repeats itself. It's a piece of wisdom that resonates deeply, especially when we find ourselves at crossroads, deciding whether to give someone a second chance. This moment of decision is profoundly significant, and it beckons us to pause, reflect, and learn from the past. The Stoics teach us that our experiences, the patterns we observe in ourselves and others, are not just random events, but lessons that, if heeded, can guide our future choices. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current. No sooner is a thing brought to sight than it is swept by, and another takes its place, and this too will be swept away." This metaphor beautifully captures the essence of learning from the past. It suggests that life's events, like a river's current, are transient, yet within this flux there are patterns and cycles. Before giving someone a second chance, it's crucial to look back at the river's course, to understand the patterns that have emerged over time. Have there been genuine efforts to change, or are promises swept away like leaves on the water, only to be replaced by more promises with no substantial change? The Stoics also teach us about the nature of trust. Trust, in the Stoic view, is not given lightly. It must be earned through consistent actions, not just words. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, reminds us, "Life's like a play. It's not the length, but the excellence of the acting that matters." Applying this to the context of giving second chances, it's the quality and consistency of someone's actions that count, not just the eloquence of their promises or the intensity of their apologies. Trust is rebuilt in the day-to-day, in the small acts that show a commitment to change, in the consistency between words and deeds. Number 9. Pause before reacting. This advice encourages us to pause, reflect, and take our time before making decisions, especially those as significant as reconciliation. The Stoics, with their profound understanding of human nature, teach us that our first impulses are not always our best guides. They knew that emotions, while a natural and important part of our human experience, can sometimes lead us astray if we let them dictate our actions without reflection. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This powerful statement reminds us that while we can't control what happens to us, we have control over how we respond. When faced with the prospect of reconciliation, it's easy to let our immediate feelings, be it anger, longing, or a rush of affection, push us toward a hasty decision. However, taking the time to make a thoughtful choice allows us to consult not just our fleeting emotions, but also our values, our experiences, and our rational judgment. By not acting on impulse, we give ourselves the space to distinguish between fears that exist only in our imagination and genuine, thoughtful considerations about our future well-being. Epictetus, with his characteristic clarity, puts it succinctly, "Don't be carried away by your desires, as if you were a feather in the wind." The path to reconciliation should not be one that we're blown onto by the changing winds of our emotions. Instead, it should be a path we choose deliberately, after careful consideration of not only what we feel in the moment, but also what we have learned from the past and what we aspire to for the future. Number 10. Nothing is guaranteed. Life's inherent unpredictability is something that can often leave us feeling like sailors adrift on a vast, uncharted ocean. We set our sails towards the horizon, fueled by hope and determination. Yet the sea has its plans, its storms, and its calm. The Stoic approach to life's uncertainty doesn't advocate for passivity or resignation, but rather for a dynamic engagement with life that is both hopeful and realistic. Seneca, another great Stoic thinker, advised, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." This perspective invites us to prepare not just for the opportunities, but also for the challenges that life might throw our way. It's about doing our part, working, hoping, and loving, while understanding that the outcome is not ours to command. This Stoic wisdom is especially relevant when we face situations that demand change, either from ourselves or from others. It's natural to hope for the best, to dream of transformation and growth. However, the Stoic reminder that nothing is guaranteed serves as a grounding force, urging us to temper our expectations with a dose of reality. It encourages us to ask ourselves, how will I respond if things don't change? What can I control in this situation? How can I find peace and fulfillment regardless of the outcome? In embracing the Stoic teaching that nothing is guaranteed, we learn to cultivate a certain kind of inner strength and flexibility. It's about developing the ability to face life's unpredictabilities with courage, to remain steadfast in our values and commitments, even when the ground seems to shift beneath our feet. It's about learning to cherish the process, the effort, and the love we put into our endeavors, independent of their outcomes. Number 11. Balance emotion and reason. The Stoics didn't advocate for the suppression of emotions, as is commonly misunderstood, but rather for their integration with rational thought. This harmonious balance they proposed is key to making decisions that truly serve our best interest. Marcus Aurelius eloquently said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This insight underlines the Stoic belief in the power of reason as the foundation for a fulfilling life. Yet, Aurelius was also a man of deep emotion who faced personal loss and the immense pressures of leadership. His writings reflect a profound understanding that emotions are a natural part of the human experience, to be acknowledged and understood, not dismissed. The Stoic practice of balancing emotion and reason starts with self-awareness. It's about recognizing our emotions, understanding their origins, and assessing their validity before acting upon them. Balancing emotion with reason is not about choosing one over the other. It's about allowing them to inform and complement each other. It's recognizing that emotions can provide valuable insights into our values, needs, and desires, while reason offers the clarity and perspective needed to navigate life's complexities effectively. This balance is what enables us to make decisions that are not only aligned with our immediate feelings, but also with our long-term well-being and values. The journey towards achieving this balance is ongoing, a daily practice of mindfulness, reflection, and self-discipline. It involves pausing before reacting, examining our emotions with curiosity and compassion, and engaging our rational mind to consider the broader context and potential outcomes of our actions. This Stoic approach to decision-making empowers us to live more intentional, fulfilling lives, where our choices are guided by a deep understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Number 12. You play a role in your life. Navigating the journey of life, we often find ourselves at the helm, faced with decisions that shape our course. Among these, who we choose to allow into our inner circle stands out as particularly significant. It's here, in these moments of choice, that the timeless wisdom of Stoicism shines a guiding light, reminding us of a powerful truth. We play an indispensable role in our own lives. This realization empowers us to take control of our reactions and the company we keep, underscoring the fact that choosing not to give someone a second chance can be an active decision to prioritize our well-being. The Stoic philosophy teaches us about the importance of discernment and self-respect in our interactions with others. Seneca, another Stoic luminary, eloquently stated, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." This advice encourages us to be selective about whom we let into our lives, urging us to surround ourselves with individuals who uplift us, respect our boundaries, and contribute positively to our growth. It's a call to action, reminding us that we have the agency to choose our companions and, by extension, the influence they have over our lives. Epictetus, known for his practical approach to Stoicism, emphasized the significance of focusing on what is within our control. He advised, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle is especially relevant when considering the role we play in our lives. It reminds us that while we can't control the actions of others, we have complete authority over our responses, including the decision to maintain or end relationships. By choosing not to give someone a second chance, we're not acting out of malice or bitterness, but from a place of self-care, asserting our right to a life marked by tranquility and respect. Choosing to prioritize our well-being is not a sign of weakness or selfishness. Rather, it's an act of strength and self-respect. It's acknowledging that our mental, emotional, and physical health are precious and deserve protection. This doesn't mean we close ourselves off to reconciliation or forgiveness. Instead, it means we approach these concepts with wisdom, understanding that forgiveness can coexist with the decision to keep our distance when necessary. As we journey together through the landscapes of Stoicism and the art of living, remember that the essence of our exploration is not just about acquiring knowledge, but about transforming our lives from within. The wisdom of the Stoics invites us to embrace the power we hold over our own narratives, to navigate life's tumultuous seas with courage, wisdom, and serenity. It's a call to live deeply, to choose deliberately, and to love the journey with all its twists and turns. So, as we part ways for now, let this be your guiding light. You are the sculptor of your destiny, the author of your story. In your hands lies the chisel to shape your reality, to carve out a life of purpose, peace, and profound fulfillment. Remember, the most beautiful stories are those penned with intention, draped in resilience, and sung with the melody of inner strength. If this journey through the Stoic philosophy has sparked a flame within you, if you're eager to dive deeper into the art of living a balanced, meaningful life, I invite you to explore our playlist on the screen. Each video is a chapter, each lesson a stepping stone on the path to your most authentic self. Together, let's continue this journey, exploring, learning, and growing. Because in the end, it's not just about navigating life's challenges. It's about thriving amidst them, crafting a masterpiece from the canvas of our existence. Watch the playlist, continue the journey, and remember, the power to live a life of wisdom, virtue, and joy lies within you.